Hey, and welcome to this week's episode. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe so that way you can get notified whenever I do a new video. I'm trying to do new videos every week all around health, wellness, so exercise, nutrition, education, just all that stuff. Today's video is going to be on TVA breathing, so like pelvic floor work. Everybody and anybody should know how to do this because this is the brace that you are going to want to do before you set up for any large movement. So before you set up for a deadlift, or if you do it or doing over any exercise movement that you're doing, you're not going to be like in a relaxed position. You're going to be in a like braced position, brace the core, bring that in, let the core support you throughout the rest of the movement. So it's really a good exercise for everybody to learn how to do, but it's specifically important for anybody who has had children, or if you're just older and you've never actually worked on those deep core muscles. This could help you bring it up and in kind of thing. So like that bottom pooch area, I guess. This is not going to remove belly fat from that area. I repeat, this is not I'm just kidding, but it is not going to do that. So I don't want to lie or trick you into saying that, but it can help bring up and in those muscles. And anyways, it's just a good exercise to know how to do because like I said, it's going to benefit you in all the other major lifts. So first thing I'm going to do is just go over, it's called Hug the Baby. And I started practicing this whenever I was pregnant with my son. But basically you expand the core, like expand the belly out, fill it up with air, and then you bring it in. But the trick is whenever you're bringing it in, you're not like sucking your stomach in. There's a difference between sucking your stomach in and bringing the core muscles like a zipper, like you're zipping it up. So like you're bringing the pelvic floor and the core muscles, the deep core muscles up and in. So I'm going to explain to you how to do it, and then I'm going to show you just a couple of different ways that you can practice it. So standing up is a great way to start just because you can look at yourself in the mirror, and there's a couple of different things that will indicate to you whether you're doing it correctly or not. So I'm going to stand up and show you. I want to make sure I get in the camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe out, and you're going to see the air is going to fill up my stomach. So what we don't want is to go and the shoulders rise, okay? We want to leave them as relaxed as possible so all of the air is going into your stomach and your core is going to do all the work, okay? So we're going to breathe in. All the air is in my tummy, and then we're going to breathe it out. Now, whenever we breathe it out, like I said, you're pulling up and in. We're not like and sucking in, okay? Sucking in, like you're not using any of your core muscles whenever you just suck your stomach in. Okay. So again, you practice it a couple times. It took a while for me to get it, to be honest. It took just practicing it over and over again because it is a little confusing, especially if you've never done it or heard of it. And especially if you're just so used to sucking in your stomach, it could get a little tricky to learn how to just properly let that go, relax, and focus on just lifting up your pelvic floor and bracing in. Another thing that you could do at the same time that will help you like brace the core set muscles is do Kegels at the same time. So if we breathe all the air in and then sorry, I'm literally breathing into the microphone. That's terrible. So as you're breathing out, you're bringing the pelvic floor in, and you can even practice doing like a Kegel exercise while you're doing it to help those muscles like, hey, look alive. We're working with you right now. And then also Kegels are another really great exercise that you could put into your rotation. Now, these don't need to be any kind of like stressful workload, like a specific day where you just do this for 30 minutes. This can literally be sprinkled into your day. I recommend maybe doing like 3 different pelvic floor work and deep core work, maybe like 2 or 3 times a week for 12 weeks, the same thing, just over and over and over again. And then just see how that goes. And then you can add on from there. Especially if you're not used to doing any of it at all. And then, of course, you can practice this bracing whenever you're doing all your compound lifts. So whenever you're setting up for a deadlift, before you deadlift, you're bracing the core. And then while you're going through the movement, obviously, you're breathing in and out, bracing the core. So perfect. So now I want to show it to you lying down. Now lying down, some people find it a little easier to do. I like standing up, especially when I first started learning this, because I wanted to watch myself and my shoulders go up or down. So I'm going to do it laying down and just show you how that works. So, all right, I'm watching my camera because I'm going to make sure I'm on the screen. Okay, so we're going to lay flat. like this, boop, boop, legs up. And then what you're going to do is, again, breathe air into your stomach. So you're going to see my stomach expand up, and then you're going to see it come down, but I'm not sucking. I'm pulling up and in. Okay, so let's do it. I'm going to try not to breathe into the mic. So up and in. So we go up and in. So you breathe, your stomach should be hard. Okay, so that is you flexing those deep, deep core muscles is essentially what it is. You're flexing the muscles, but at the same time, you're trying to bring up the pelvic floor and brace everything together at once. So I like to refer to it like a zipper. Like whenever you zip everything up, it comes all together nice and neat. So we're gonna do it one more time. So okay, so you'll even notice like a slight shift in your pelvis because you are literally like rotating it and lifting it up as you're doing this exercise. Okay, so that is one that I just love, love, love. Another one that's going to be great is what's called a vacuum pose, and that's just basically a cat dog. So we're gonna turn over. I'm gonna show you that one. And this is another thing just to add into your rotation whenever you're doing this, if you're trying to focus on it. The first thing I would do, though, is focus on learning how to activate those muscles and just TVA breathing. That's all you want to do. Hug the baby, whatever you want to call it. Focus on getting that down first. Maybe, 3 sets of 10 reps every day before when you wake up or before you go to bed or whatever. Literally, when you're sitting at your desk, you can stand up and do it. And then you can start getting into exercises that are going to incorporate the TVA breathing, but also incorporate another movement, because the TVA breathing is hard enough before trying to add like any special movements at the same time. So focus on really, really, really learning how to do that first. And then, so this is a vacuum pose. So we're going to, again, breathe all the air into our tummy. It's the same thing. So, and then we're going to breathe everything out. So as the air goes into our tummy, you'll see like your back is going to dip down a little bit. That's normal. Like it's a cat dog exercise. And then as you breathe out, you breathe everything out and you try to push your belly button literally to your backside. Okay. So again, at the same time, we can do that Kegel exercise and pull everything up and in and zip it up. Okay. So I'm going to do it one more time, maybe without talking. So that way you can see. Okay, so that's another one. There's 2 more I'm going to show you. One's a cat dog and one's a bird dog. And I'm just going to run through them quickly. These are other ones that you can start incorporating into your routine. Like I said, you don't need to do like 5 or 6 exercises of this at a time. It's literally just incorporating it into maybe like 3 times a week, 3 different exercises, 1 to 2 sets per exercise. Okay. You don't need to try to format it like a strength training workout. Okay. So again, we're going to breathe out, fill all that air up in our tummy. And then as we breathe out, everything comes up and in. So okay, so then you would just do the other one just the same way. This one is more of my favorite. I just feel my core and my pelvic floor working more whenever I do this one. So I prefer to do this one, but the bird dog is really great. And then you could eventually advance like bird dog crunches and things like that. So this one is going to be a dead bug. So you want to make sure that your lower back is pressed up against the floor. Like you don't want an arch there like this. We don't want that arch there. Okay. We want to tuck the pelvis in like this. And then we're going to be up on tabletop. And then slow. So now you could also do like just one leg at a time, like a single leg, like bent knee drop as to start. And then as you get stronger in your core, you can start doing both, because what you don't want to happen is if your core is too weak to do both arms and legs, you'll end up like this. And you see that arch in my back? My core isn't in no way, shape, or form activated right now. Like it is all the way turned off. What's doing the lifting is my hip flexors and my arms and my shoulders. Like my core isn't doing this movement at all. So just because you're doing an ab exercise doesn't mean you're working the abs. Oops. Remember that. Just because you're doing an ab exercise does not mean you're working the abs. If you're not properly activating the abs through your core, like deep core, I hate to say it's a waste of an exercise, but you could be doing other things that are going to be more beneficial than ab exercises when you're not activating the core properly. Okay, so breathe all that air. All right, get nice and strong. And now we're going to breathe in, fill up the tummy with air. And then as we come up, we exhale everything out. And again, you're focus on pulling the pelvis up and in like a zipper. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about any like deep pelvic floor work or anything, just let me know. I truly believe that me doing the 8 weeks of deep pelvic floor work, or even longer than 8 weeks, but 8 weeks of deep pelvic floor core work set me up to be stronger than I've ever been postpartum. I have never been stronger, faster, leaner than I have been now. And I truly do believe that we are only as strong as our core. And me just building my core up from the bottom up, not trying to do like weighted decline sit-ups ASAP, just literally pelvic floor work, planks, breathing exercises. That's all I did for the first 8 weeks. And that set me up with such a solid foundation to have where my strength is where it is now. And that my strength has now surpassed my strength in the last 8 years that I've been lifting after I had a baby. And I 100% attribute it to the core work. So, all right. Remember, keep doing that core work. It's always important. I still do it now. I'm going to continue to do it forever because those muscles do need to be worked intentionally and in isolated. If you have any questions, feel free to comment and I will talk to you later. Bye.